Hello everyone, I hope you guys are having a wonderful day and making some really good trades, and let's get right into it. But actually, before we begin, I just want to say once again a big congratulations to the gold members and the crypto members inside the Discord. You guys are getting some amazing trades from Hayden. Again, another 84% winner today on the XRP short, and I myself shorted Bitcoin yesterday as well once we hit that $27,300 level and bagged a nice little 40%er. Again, I know some people stayed in that trade a little bit longer and obviously reaped the rewards today as Bitcoin pulled back significantly again. So if you guys want to get access to these trades, all you have to do is go in the link in the description and sign up to be a gold member or a crypto member. All right, let's get right into it here, and we can see that right now Bitcoin has pumped all the way back up to 27,300 where we shorted it and it reconfirmed it as resistance once again, and now we closed underneath 26,500, which has been a pretty good area of support, and we'll see if we retest it once again as resistance. But if we start to confirm lower and we start to head down lower, then I'm pretty sure we are eventually going to come back down to that 200-day moving average right around 23,400. Oops. And or potentially this upsloping trend line that we have here right around that area as well. So again, that's probably going to be a good area of support if we start to come back down, and if Bitcoin is not able to get back above these levels, which right now it's not looking that great. So we'll see. We'll keep a close eye on things, but at the moment markets are starting to come down, and so is Bitcoin. But we'll get into the traditional markets in just a little bit. Just wanted to finish my analysis on Bitcoin, and taking a look at Bitcoin on the daily time frame using Market Cipher, we could see that like I said many times before, I think I reiterated this many times, that it's very possible that we could come back down to that 50% retrace, and that's exactly what we did. We're off by just a few dollars here. We haven't tagged it yet technically, so again, I still think we are going to come back down and tag this level. But if this level does not hold, then you have another point of confluence right around 23,900, which is your 618 retrace, and that comes in confluence with this area of support as well. So you're going to have a good amount of support right around the 618 and the 668. All right, taking a look at the 4-hour time frame on wave edge, we can see we have gotten a red cross again, so some potential selling in the shorter term time frames. And taking a look at the daily, we don't have any real signals yet, but what you can see is that they dumped the price towards the downside, liquidating all those long positions that were essentially, their stops were essentially rather underneath 25,800, and hit all the short after that. After hitting all those long liquidations and those stops, a lot of shorts were opened, and you can see they ripped it right back up only to liquidate all the shorts as well, so causing maximum damage to all the people doing leverage trades on Bitcoin right now. And eventually they are going to choose their move, and I believe that it could be a quick move towards the downside once again to 23,500 to 23,900, and then we could get a very big bounce back up to potentially as high as 32,000 to 35,000. Okay, so that sums it up for Bitcoin right now, and let's dive in right into the traditional markets, because the Qs came down today. The Nasdaq pulled back again. It was on some okay volume, nothing to really write home about. We're not going to make too much out of it. Same thing for the S&P 500. In my opinion, it was okay volume, not crazy volume. It was only 85 million. Again, we still have yet to see a high volume sell-off in the traditional markets, so we will see if we're going to get that in the coming weeks and days. Next week is going to be the Fed rate hike that we're going to get. And at the moment, the probabilities of a Fed rate hike have now increased after today's meeting in Canada, where the central bank surprised the market with a 25 basis point rate hike. So if the Fed raises, the rates, we have only a 32% chance of that happening. But again, there's still a couple more days and a good amount of data to come out in the coming days. So if we have more data that's going to be putting pressure on the Fed to raise rate, such as unemployment claims, and then on Friday we don't have anything for the US on Friday, only Canadian data. And we'll just take a look. So on the 13th of June, we actually have the CPI data coming out, and it is expected to decrease to 4.1%, which is a very big drop compared to the 5% to 4.9% reduction in the last CPI meeting. So we're going to have to see if that actually happens. If this is a big miss and inflation is still hot, then that is going to put the fear in the markets. All right. And then obviously on Wednesday, we have PPI and then the federal funds rate, which is expected to remain flat. But again, you never know what these these central banks are going to do. You can see that the Bank of Canada was supposed to remain flat and they raised the rates. You can see that the Australian bank was supposed to remain flat and they raised the rates. So are we going to raise the rates? We'll have to see. Again, taking a look at the 2-year yield is a very good indicator of where what the Fed is going to do. So if this 2-year yield gets up to 5%, that is going to be a very big problem for the Federal Reserve. That is going to put an immense amount of pressure on them to raise the rates higher. So please keep an eye on the yields, and what the yields do is going to be indicative of what the Fed is going to do. So getting back to the SPY here in the Qs, again, no real high volume sell-off yet. So again, I still think that the markets are in a topping phase, but it's still possible for them to come back down, get a pullback, come back up and double top, and then you can get your major move towards the downside after that. So taking a look at like what we did in the NASDAQ in the past, right? When I was shorting it and a lot of people were cheering on bear market rally, and obviously this was during the bear market as well. And you know, a lot of people were very, very, very euphoric that it was the bottom or we're going to new all-time highs. And I was piling into shorts at these levels. And you can see we came back down and we came back up, double topped, and then eventually we had our massive move towards the downside. Almost every single day or every single week was consistent selling, and then we just made a new low. And I mean, this was very, very horrendous for the longs. And now we're starting to hear, you know, the most bullish news I've ever heard near the top of the market, near when the NASDAQ and the Qs are making higher highs and new 52-week highs. I'm hearing Tommy Lee calling for 5,000 S&P by the end of the year, or at the very least make a double top, because we're so close, right? And what I don't understand is these people don't look at the same calls that they made in 2021, right? Or sorry, in 2022, Tommy Lee was calling for 5,500 S&P, or this isn't the S&P, right? So 5,500 S&P, expecting this to just keep on moving. And then once we got into January of 2022, it was a consistent bear market throughout the year. And throughout the entire year, he was bullish and bullish and bullish. I mean, he's still bullish now. So again, you always have these perma bears and these perma bulls that will always be bullish, and some of them will always be bearish, right? And there's just a time and place to be bearish and bullish. And right now, you would want to be more bearish, definitely more bearish than bullish, right? Especially on such overextended levels and on such elevated earnings, right? So not earnings, valuations. And then you're starting to see that happening in the markets. You're starting to see a lot of these fund managers starting to reprice these stocks, starting to unload them in huge amounts. And you guys may not think that it's a lot of selling here, but if you take a look at WaveEdge, which analyzes a lot of this volume in terms of selling as well, you can see all this selling starting to happen as the price is going up. You can see as the price is going down, they are accumulating positions. Now they are starting to unload their tech stock positions, and you can see that the funds are starting to flow into other sectors of the market. So it's not leaving the market, it's just going into other sectors. You can see that the Russell 2000 is just absolutely killing it right now, almost getting up to that 191 target that I have, or sorry, the 1911 target that I have for the Russell 2000. So if it gets up here, I think that's going to be your max upside, and you are going to run into some pretty good resistance. Just take a look at these stocks that are inside the Russell 2000, like the Roku. Roku is actually, it's also in the NASDAQ as well, but it's up over 8% in one single day today. You guys can take a look at the KRE, which has a lot of the regional banks. And right now the KRE was up over 3.5% as well today. And we took our profits on the KRE. Again, not the best trade, but we managed to get out without a loss. Taking a look at other stocks like Apple and Amazon, getting some very high volume sell-offs today. And Amazon was actually down over 4.25%. Again, more selling happening. So you guys can see that the monies are starting to move out of one sector into another. And again, these stocks are just pumped up all on AI hype. And again, that's fine and all, but eventually reality will set back in. And once you see that these fund managers see, like, why are we buying Microsoft at these PE levels when we could be buying yields that give us 3.7%, or when, you know, the 2-year yield that's giving us 4.5%, and as it's starting to go back up. So again, you're starting to see all this stuff starting to reprice itself into the market. The euphoria is starting to leave just a little bit, but you know, in my opinion, I think this could be our top in the market, right? We could see these stocks start to top out, but my best guess is that you're going to come down, you're going to get a bounce, and then you probably will start to double top around there, or you're going to start to consolidate at these levels, and eventually you will start to roll over as the economy slips into a very bad recession. All right, taking a look at oil here. That's enough of that. Let's get into the oil stocks. So oil right now, not oil stocks, but oil, the oil chart. So oil again, still hammering on this upsloping trend line here, trying to get back above it. In my opinion, if oil is able to get up to $77 to $80, I'm going to be very interested to short around this zone, and I will be telling you guys when I'm going to be entering my trade on oil to short it towards the downside, as I do believe we are headed lower in these markets. Taking a look at natural gas, again, natural gas has already been repriced towards the downside with all this massive shorting. It is now starting to consolidate sideways, which is very nice to see. The longs are starting to build and the shorts have covered, and that's all you really want to see in that gas. Eventually, I think you are going to get a very nice breakout towards the upside. I believe I don't think that this is going to be the breakout that's going to lead us to a multi-year cycle towards the upside. I still think that nat gas will make a new low right after this rally, but after that, I think you got a pretty definitive bottom if you are going to get to the very all-time lows of around $1.50, and after that you can start your multi-year cycle towards the upside. But again, you never know. Maybe this is the lows for nat gas, and you are going to head up to $5-6 for the price of nat gas. Okay, let's take a look at gold here. Gold getting a big breakdown today as the dollar did it uptick? Oh yeah, the dollar acted pretty strong today. And before we get into gold, I just want to talk about the dollar very quickly. Again, the dollar, in my opinion, is looking very bullish. I think that you had a very nice, you know, uptrend now, a very strong uptrend as well, and now you're getting some very bullish consolidation. In my opinion, everything is set for the dollar to go higher right now, and if the dollar can get up to 107, that is going to be my main target for the dollar. So if the dollar gets up there, you're probably going to see the traditional markets start to roll over. You're going to see gold roll over, and you will see silver roll over as well, and probably everything is going to roll over except for maybe bond yields. Bond yields will be going up. Let's take a look at silver. So again, silver getting rejected from this downsloping channel. I still think silver could go lower, again around $22.20. Although I'm very long-term bullish on silver, it's very possible for it to go lower. And again, I think once you get to these levels here, right around $21 to $22, that's going to be in a great accumulation zone, not only for bullion, but for, you know, a couple trades as well. And again, I'm going to be sharing those trades inside the Discord. All right, so I mean, I think that settles it for now. Very happy with our win today on the UVXY. We bagged over $4,800, I believe, in profit. Let me just double check. No, it was $4,200 in profit on our UVXY trade. And the UVIX is essentially a leveraged VIX ETF. And you could probably ask yourselves, how are we making money on a stock or an ETF that just keeps dropping towards the downside? And if something keeps dropping towards the downside, right, you want to play some put options or you want to short it. But shorting it, you're putting a lot of capital at risk, and your upside, your downside is unlimited, as this thing could moon towards the upside if the VIX were to spike and the markets were to crash. So the safe thing to do is to play with puts, and you can make some great money. And we made some amazing money today on those UVIX put option contracts that we closed up over 87% in profit. Again, big congrats to you guys inside the Discord. Love you all. Talk to you later. Peace.